I know it's not the done thing to have a defeat and then feel good about it, but surely Liverpool fans tonight can accept that they were outclassed a little bit over the course of 2 legs by a very, very good Paris Saint-Germain side, and that is the reason that they've been knocked out of the Champions League at the last 16 stage. I did say after the first leg that I expected Liverpool to be much better. I didn't expect PSG to be as dominant as well, and that we would get a big atmosphere and it would be a real test of PSG, and we, as I say, would see a better Liverpool side that would give them more of a test. And I do think we saw that. I thought we saw a lot of improvement from Liverpool. Certainly it couldn't be much worse really than the first leg, where they got absolutely dominated despite nicking that 1-0 win at the end. But unfortunately, despite that improved performance, still a largely even game, and then it goes to penalties, and of course it is a little bit of a lottery at that point. But of course PSG put theirs away, and Donnarumma pulls off a couple of excellent saves, and that is the reason they go through. And as I say, I just don't think Liverpool can have too many complaints over that really, because you do look at the tie as a whole, and you know, you throw in that first leg where PSG were absolutely brilliant and incredibly dominant, and then as I say, largely even game here, then you'd have to say that on the balance of play really that PSG absolutely deserved to go through. Now I did mention that Liverpool were better here, and you can see that really in the numbers. I mean, the shot count 19 to 21, 3 shots on target for Liverpool, 8 shots on target for PSG, although a lot of those were from distance and ones that Alisson fairly easily collected. And the XG count is 1.64 for Liverpool, 2.56 for PSG, which makes it sound like they kind of battered Liverpool, but I would say that that number there for PSG is a little bit of dirty really, because it's got 0.94 expected goals for the Dembele goal. It literally is a tap-in into an open goal on the line, so that skews the numbers. And as I say, otherwise it was a really even contest really, and a draw probably would have been a fair result from tonight overall. But of course PSG get that moment, they get the goal, and that is what sends it ultimately to penalties, and the reason that they go through. Now of course I don't think Liverpool can bemoan having bad luck around that goal. It is a little bit of chaos in the box, isn't it? But I mean, crikey, they had enough luck, didn't they, in that first leg to last a lifetime really. So to get a bit of unluckiness in this one, it probably levels things out. And as I say, from there, a really even game that could have gone either way really. I thought Liverpool in particular dominated the second half here. PSG created a fair few opportunities in that first half, but again Liverpool were better in the second half, as they were in the first leg. Largely limited PSG again as they did in the first leg, but then were creating opportunities of their own, and that was the moment really where Liverpool were going to nick the game if they were, and you wouldn't have had any complaints if they'd got the noses ahead in that period. But as I say, it didn't really, that goal didn't materialise that Liverpool needed. And of course it is worth saying that who really, we haven't seen it very often, who comes to Anfield and makes it an even game in the way PSG did. I have to say how impressed I was by them. And I think it's something Slot will focus on in his post-match downstairs really. He's talking about, yes, Liverpool fell short of where they wanted to in the tie in terms of going through, but also you have to kind of give a nod to the quality of the opposition. And I do genuinely believe that over the course of 2 legs there, we've maybe seen the winners of this competition in PSG. And if that is the case, I don't think there's much shame really in Liverpool going out to them, because they just look a brilliant side with quality everywhere, an excellent manager in the dugout. They came to Anfield here trailing after the first leg and knocked Liverpool out. That shows that alongside all the quality and everything else that they've got, they've also got real guts and character, because that is they win the game on the night, which is an achievement in itself really, to come to Anfield and do that in this hostile atmosphere. So hugely impressed by them. And I do think actually, the fact is, if this is the side that goes on to win it as I expect, then I think there are a few lessons for Liverpool to take going forward. They've been absolutely fantastic this season, but I think this tonight really has been a little bit of a reminder of that, those little extra steps they maybe have to take to reach that top level and be the side that can go into the Champions League and win it next season. And I think the biggest lessons really are kind of around where the squad is up to now. I don't want to contradict myself, and I won't really, because I've said consistently this season I think Liverpool have the best squad in the Premier League. And I mean, look at the league table, that absolutely shows you that is the case, that they've got the depth and the quality to go on and win that competition and win it with a points total that hopefully will be around 90 points. That would win it in most seasons. So it is a really high quality squad, but this is just a little bit of a step up, isn't it, in the Champions League? You just have to have that little bit of extra quality in the key moments, and maybe Liverpool are just a little bit short in that regard, and maybe just need a couple to kind of lift the level going into next season if they are to contend for this title and maybe match PSG's level. And I think, you know, a good starting point for that really would be an attack. I thought Liverpool had a lot of promises moments today where, you know, I think in other seasons where they've been, you know, you think of Mane, Firmino, Salah at his peak, they would have probably put PSG to bed in this tie, in you know, particularly some of the first half chances, particularly in the second actually, when they were dominant in terms of creating chances. That was the period where your quality in forward areas really comes to the fore, and I think, you know, they just looked a little bit lacking. I have to say that centre forward is one of the areas that I think is most in need of addressing this summer. I looked at Diogo Jota, I thought he was poor again. He acknowledged his poor form this season, didn't he, in the press conference yesterday, and I think today showed, you know, he had even more struggles really. He completes 12 out of 17 of his passes, wins only 1 out of 9 ground duels. I mean, you look at PSG's physicality, the fact they go man for man, and he just came up really short over 2 legs in terms of that. He's not going to be someone who's going to get you up the pitch and bully defenders in a way that, you know, Firmino wasn't the biggest, but he was very capable in that regard. He's not able to do that, so I think he looked a little bit short of that in this game, and maybe that gives some considerations to the summer. And the problem was as well that Darwin Nunez wasn't trusted to start, because I think he's been in form recently, but his form is generally up and down. He's inconsistent, isn't he? And then when he does come in, he completes 5 out of 8 passes and wins 1 out of 4 ground duels. So again, even with his additional physicality, couldn't make that difference to Liverpool. And of course, gets caught offside a few times. He's not reliable in his finishing either. So I really do think it shows that Liverpool's centre forward options are good. They're good enough to win the Premier League. But when you go that extra level and you want to step up, I think Liverpool maybe need a little bit more in that area, and I do expect that will be an area that Liverpool address. I don't necessarily expect a Jota departure. I think he's someone you keep around because of his injury record. It'd be hard to sell him, and he is a useful option in games. He has had a poor season, but I think he's better than that. But we expect Darwin Nunez will leave, that Saudi interest, so that will open up a vacancy in that attack that maybe could be filled by a summer signing. I would expect that, because the one thing I would say about the attack in general is that you've got a world-class forward in there, having Mo Salah having the season of his life, but too many of his, the players alongside him in that attack, they are very much supporting cast rather than that top level. And I think Liverpool, that balance just needs to be tipped in the other direction, in terms of, I think Liverpool just need one more at least who is that world class level, and then that makes it lifts the level of everyone, and makes the attack just look a little bit better. So for me, that is an area that Liverpool need to look at. And I think also a clear area again where I think Liverpool will strengthen. Again, I'm not talking about ripping up the squad completely, it's just that little sprinkling of quality in the right areas where I thought, again, midfield, PSG just showed, again, over the course of the tie, that little bit of extra class in that area. I thought they were fantastic, really. I mean, you look at the players they've got in there, Neves, Vitinha, Ruiz, absolutely blown away by the quality they had. And they didn't completely take Liverpool apart in this game, but the first leg they definitely did. And they made it an even game in this one as well, which again, in this atmosphere, is very difficult to do and shows you how good they are. And I thought, you know, Liverpool were decent at times in midfield. It's worth mentioning Alexis McAllister. For me, he is Liverpool's most important midfielder. I mean, 5 chances created, more than anybody else in the match. 5 out of 11 ground duels won, and 91% in terms of his pass completion. But I think you saw Liverpool got much weaker in midfield when he went off. He is just so vital to them, and they don't have anyone who's kind of close to him in bringing that balance on both sides of the ball. So, you know, again, spoken about, you know, if there is movement in that midfield, if an Endo goes, can you get an all-rounder who's just slightly closer to that level of McAllister and can just lift everyone? Because there is quality there. Again, I don't want to say we're talking about ripping everything up here, but it just shows you, I think, in a couple of areas, just a little extra signing who could kind of really lift that level a little bit. And I'd also say, you know, kind of similarly in defence, really, there are question marks there in terms of, you know, do they just need that little touch more depth? Obviously, Joe Gomez, injury problems have been a theme of his Liverpool career. We expect he will move on this summer, and if he does do that, can you get a centre-half who's a little bit more robust, so that you're not necessarily asking Endo to come in a Champions League last 16 tie against a side that good to play centre-half, as well as he's done there, by the way. And I thought he was decent when he came on. You know, you just want someone else who's just a little bit closer to the level the manager wants. And again, you know, at right back, will there be a little bit of changes there? You know, with Trent Alexander-Arnold's future up in the air, we do definitely expect to sign in at left back as well, which again will lift the level of the team. I didn't think Robertson had too many issues tonight, but again, a top class option in there will lift the team in general. So I think, you know, you're just seeing, as I say, it's not a case of wanting to completely start again with this squad, but I just thought there was evidence today, wasn't there, of where Liverpool kind of need to be and what they should be striving for and what the plan should be this summer. It shouldn't be about quantity, because this manager clearly doesn't need it. He's happy with a smaller squad, but it should be about quality. And I think 3 signings maybe of the right level of quality who can come in and make an instant impact will immediately put Liverpool in a better position when they come round, hopefully, to this position in the Champions League again next season. And I don't want to kind of end on a negative either, or let you feel kind of too negative in summing up really where Liverpool are up to in this video. At the end of the day, look, Arne Slot has come into this club replacing Jurgen Klopp, made one signing who barely touches the pitch, by the way, and he's on course to win the Premier League title. He's got a League Cup final coming up at the weekend, and let's be honest, I know, you know, everyone will be disappointed about tonight and the way it's played out, but you shouldn't be maybe too disappointed about the fact that Arne Slot in his first season hasn't done a Premier League and Champions League double. I mean, maybe we're setting our expectations a little bit high if anyone was thinking that, because to me, and I've said it repeatedly this season, I didn't even think that they would be in contention for the Premier League title, never mind running away with it in the way that they have. Real opportunity on Sunday to add a domestic trophy as well, and I mean, we are talking about an absolutely dream scenario there, where a manager wins 2 trophies in his first season, and one of those is only his second title in 35 years. So, you know, it's worth focusing on those positives really, and then yes, go into the summer, Richard Hughes, Michael Edwards, Arne Slot, the learnings are there, aren't they, that they can take forward to come into next season and hopefully reach the level that they've seen from PSG. And like I say, it won't take an awful lot, but they've just got to be the right signings. But I think that's the lesson to take from today, but not too much disappointment to take away. Lots and lots of positives, as I said, to focus on, because ultimately you can quickly forget about this one, because Liverpool now got to put all the focus into that trip to Wembley on Sunday. And, you know, as good as Newcastle are, and they will be a real threat, and it will be a tricky game, they're not quite as good as PSG. So I think Liverpool we can see more from them, a better performance, and hopefully a more dominant performance, and hopefully a trophy on board, the first of the season and the first of the Arne Slot era. What a great day out that would be. Now, of course, I will be down at Wembley, and before then we've got a report on the manager's press conference as well, so I'll see you all for that. In the meantime, do let me know in the comments what you thought, what you think needs to change, what lessons do Liverpool need to learn from this, because there are maybe a few there. But as I say, let's try and keep it cheerful, because I don't think it's too negative that they've not done that double this season, and I think it is just a learning process. I'm sure we'll see the best of Arne Slot's Liverpool next season, won't we? So in the meantime, I say, let me know your thoughts. If you can like and subscribe, massively appreciated. So I'll wrap it up there and say I'll see you guys very soon.